Senator Schumer has even invented a family named the Baileys that he says he consults about what is best for New York. This is an actual quote from our senior senator. "Though they are imaginary, I frequently talk to them," unquote. Senator, instead of inventing a family that does not exist, perhaps you could find some time to listen to real New York families that are struggling to make ends meet, put their kids through school, and pay the taxes and fees you imposed upon them from your throne on Capitol Hill. Senator Schumer has recently held press conferences to express outrage about airplane baggage fees, how Facebook handles its data, and the salt content of cheeseburgers. Yet he is speechless about New York's $10 billion deficit, a state budget that is now 31 days late, and a dysfunctional government that is the laughingstock of the Northeast. I love New York. I even love the trains. I met this state when I was 17. As a teenager, I won a statewide speech contest in the state of Indiana, and the reward was a trip to New York City. I knew the minute I stepped off that bus that New York would someday be my home. I could feel the energy in my feet. I inhaled the culture and the diversity and the sea of humanity around me. The arts, the music, the commerce, a place that seemed to be a magnet for the best and the brightest. I looked around and I thought, yes, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. I lived upstate as a Cornell University graduate student and slept in an office in the city during the early years of my career. I have lived in the bucolic Hudson Valley in the picturesque village of Cornwall on Hudson for more than 20 years. I may be an immigrant to New York, but I am no stranger to New York or its people. I want New York to again be what New York once was, a magnet for the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the creators, the thinkers, the writers, the artists, the hub of commerce and manufacturing with factories that thrive, and a place where people who want to work can find a good job that pays a good wage. A place where someone who is willing to work and ply their talents can go for the brass ring. A place where those on the lower rung of the economic ladder are allowed to advance as far and as fast as they care to go. I want for you what you want: safe communities, schools that work, colleges and universities with affordable tuition, an economy that allows people to save, invest, enjoy the fruits of their labor, absent fear of living old impoverished. That has always been the promise of America. It is up to us to preserve that promise for the next generation. To you, I offer a simple set of beliefs and values that will guide this campaign and my votes on your behalf as your next United States Senator. I believe that money left in the hands of taxpayers will spur more jobs, more creativity than government programs ever will. I believe that capitalism and the free market system have done more to lift people from poverty than socialism ever will. I believe that freeing entrepreneurs from overregulation and overtaxation will lead to breathtaking inventions, more miracle drugs, and medical devices that have given the United States the finest healthcare system in the world. I believe that the best public schools are those that are forced to compete with private and charter schools. Show me a community that allows private and charter schools to flourish, and I will show you a community with flourishing public schools. I believe in spending restraint for one simple reason. Every dollar a government takes from you to spend on your behalf is a dollar you no longer have to save or invest or spend more wisely. I believe in a strong military, for I regard military weakness as a provocation. Those who have risked life and limb to defend this nation are entitled to the full measure of our gratitude and generosity. I believe in the inherent dignity of the individual, that no state and no government has the right to decree what we are allowed to hear or say or think or write. When I was a boy, my father was elected to the Indiana State Legislature. And sometimes he would go to the Capitol, leaving me with the responsibility of making sure the livestock was fed or the corn picked or the garden hoed. It was at the age of 9 when I learned one of life's great lessons. It was a cold and miserable day in February of 1963. Dad was gone, and I decided I didn't want to do the chores in the pouring rain after school. So I was in bed that evening when I heard my mother answer the phone, and she shortly appeared at the door with a message from Dad. She said, "Your father says if you have not done your chores, you need to get your fanny out of bed and hop to." So in the pitch black of night, drenching wet, flashlight in hand, I walked down the road to the barn to feed the livestock, water the pigs, and lay fresh straw in the pens. At the time, I did not fully appreciate the lesson I was being taught, but it was this: the survival of that farm and our livelihood required that everybody do their part to keep it together. That lesson I learned about responsibility and accountability lives with me to this day. Responsibility and accountability starts with us. This is the greatest country in the world, and it is up to us to keep it. This was once the greatest state in the Union, and it is up to us to lift it off its knees. We live in the world's greatest democracy, and it is up to us to prove, using our God-given right at the ballot box, to prove that it can work. Other than life itself, the greatest gift any of us have ever received is to have been born an American. And it is up to us to ensure that this nation we love, these freedoms we cherish, these liberties we enjoy, are preserved for future generations. In 1778, a great chain was laid across this Hudson River at West Point to stop the British from advancing toward Albany. Let it someday be said that 232 years later, in the year 2010, in a nearby village known as Cornwall on Hudson, was born a new crusade that relit the lamp of freedom and rekindled the great promise of this, the greatest democracy the world has ever known. God bless you. God bless New York. God bless the United States of America. Yeah.